Chapter 54. As the day slowly transitions into evening, Lana rises from her seat and inquires of the hostess, "How much longer do you think it will be?" The hostess, with a hint of apology in her voice, responds, "I'm afraid I can't say for certain. It appears that everyone is lingering and not showing any signs of departing anytime soon." Lana, understanding the situation, simply nods and says, "That's all right, thank you." She then makes her way back to her group and voices her concerns. "It seems like we might need to consider finding another venue for the evening." Adelmo, intrigued by Lana's suggestion, questions, "Why do you think we should move?" Lana, with a sense of urgency in her tone, explains, "It seems like no one is willing to vacate the premises. I'm certain there must be other dining options available at this hour. We've been here for quite a while now, and it might be best to explore other possibilities." With a collective nod of agreement, the group decides to heed Lana's advice and start looking for an alternative location to continue their evening. Lana's observation about the reluctance of other patrons to leave resonates with everyone, and they all agree that it's time to seek out a different restaurant that can accommodate them without any unnecessary delays. The prospect of exploring a new dining spot adds a sense of excitement to their plans, and they eagerly set out to find a more welcoming place to enjoy the rest of their evening. As they step out of the restaurant, the group decides to search for another place to eat. They walk down the street, scanning the area for any signs of an open establishment. After a few minutes, they stumble upon a restaurant that appears to be open. Excitedly, they pull into the parking lot and make their way inside. Upon entering the building, Adelmo's face contorts into a look of confusion. He glances around, taking in the surroundings. Meanwhile, Lana cautiously follows behind him, keeping a close eye on their surroundings. Sierra, on the other hand, feels a sense of unease and decides to stay outside. As Adelmo and Lana explore further, they notice that the place is impeccably clean. The tables are neatly arranged, and there is no sign of any previous customers. However, their attention is suddenly drawn to a disturbing sight. They step outside and come across a zombie lying on the ground, covered in freezer burn. To their horror, they realize that the lifeless body of the restaurant's owner is underneath the zombie. Reacting to the gruesome scene, Adelmo speculates on what might have happened. He suggests that the zombie had been stored in the freezer for an extended period. When the owner attempted to move it to the back for disposal, the sun's heat caused the zombie to come back to life, resulting in a fatal encounter for the owner. Lana agrees with Adelmo's theory, acknowledging the unfortunate fate of the restaurant owner. In an attempt to ensure the zombie is truly dead, Adelmo takes matters into his own hands. He firmly grasps the zombie's head, swiftly snapping its neck and detaching it from the body. This gruesome act confirms that the threat has been eliminated, providing a small sense of relief amidst the unsettling discovery. As the lifeless body lay on the ground, blood began to spurt out, creating a gruesome scene. Adelmo, unfazed by the sight, stood up and motioned for Sierra and Lana to follow him. They made their way towards the front of the building, stepping over the pool of blood that had formed around the deceased owner. Sierra, with a puzzled expression on her face, couldn't help but question Adelmo's actions. "What on earth are you doing back there?" she asked, her voice filled with confusion and concern. Lana, trying to remain calm, responded, "We have no choice but to find another place." Unfortunately, the owner never had the chance to fully open up the establishment before he met his untimely demise. Sierra's eyes widened in shock as she processed Lana's words. "Wait, what? Are you telling me that those things are still lurking around here?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Adelmo, trying to reassure Sierra, replied, "Well, it's possible that they're still around, but I don't think there's enough of them to be a major concern. We should be fine as long as we stay cautious." With that, they all climbed back into the car and drove off in search of the next available place, hoping to find a safer location to continue their journey. Lana spots a bustling establishment and excitedly suggests, "Hey, let's go and explore this place." Adelmo skillfully parks the car in the spacious parking lot, and they all step out, making their way towards the entrance of the restaurant. As they enter, They notice that the sun is gradually setting, indicating that it's getting later in the evening. Without any delay, they are promptly shown to their seats by the attentive staff. The waiter approaches their table with a warm smile and asks, "Can I start you off with something to drink?" Each of them takes turns responding, expressing their preference for a refreshing glass of water. As they peruse the menu, their eyes light up with excitement as they discover a variety of delectable dishes to choose from. They engage in a lively discussion, sharing their thoughts and recommendations with one another. After a few moments, the waiter returns and inquires, "Are you ready to place your orders?" Adelmo glances at the rest of the group, noticing their nods of agreement. Feeling confident in their choices, Adelmo takes the lead and begins to place his order, followed by Lana and finally Sierra. The waiter jots down their selections and heads towards the kitchen to relay their requests. As they wait for their meals to arrive, Adelmo's expression turns puzzled, and he remarks, "Where's Samara? I thought she followed us inside." Lana shrugs her shoulders and replies, "Well, I guess she wasn't as interested in joining us for a meal. Oh well, we'll catch up with her later." Adelmo chuckles and adds, "We'll definitely have an interesting story to share with Nick when we return to town." They continue chatting and eagerly anticipate the delicious food that awaits them.